Good morning and welcome. Right, first lesson learned this morning: stop analysing races while shaving. Can end devastating. Right, the King George, the Christmas cracker, Brave Man's Game heads the betting for Paul Nichols. Laham Prez close enough and behind him now into 2-1. A very talented 7-year-old. Also Hitman, the kind of up and coming horse for a good while, was disappointing. Put in a good performance in a weak enough race the last day. But I really think he'll have to step up again, I think, to win a King George. But you can see lots of reasons why he'll run well. He has plenty of pace, he jumps well enough and things like that. Envoy Allen, hard to know what to make of Envoy Allen. A High Senior, a little bit similar, hard to know what to make right now. Royal Pagal probably wants a more of a slog, bottomless ground. I don't think we'll get bottomless ground. Probably get little easy side of good, maybe. Edward Allen, he's a good in-form horse, but will struggle to turn tables on a horse that beat him comfortably the last time. Frodon, definitely, you have to like Frodon. He'll force the pace here. Can't see him winning it this year. Miller's Bank, an interesting outsider. But right, for me, Paul Nichols holds all the aces here. I think if Harry Cobden can ride Brave Man's Game, if Paul allows him to say, right, Harry, listen, just chillax here. We have enough up front. We have Hitman can go forward. We have Bryony Frost there on Frodon. She can go a good gallop. There's other horses here. A High Senior like to go forward. And even Laham Prez likes to be up there. Now, Laham Prez can travel really strongly. So even if they do go a good gallop and he's up handy, it won't hinder him as much as it will hinder the others. But I wouldn't like to see Brave Man's Game in that front wave. I'd like to see him behind it. I'd like to see him sitting quiet for a lap. And I really think, because he might even get a little outpaced over the first few Brave Man's Game. But as long as the jock just sits quiet, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Paul Nichols doesn't come to Kempton with a horse this good and lose. Not in a King George. Brave Man's Game is going to be so ready for this race. When he won in Wetherby, he won in a hack canter. Now, I know the winning distance over Edward Allen was only 4 lengths, but that doesn't tell the story. Brave Man's Game jumped the best, travelled the best. He picked it up 4 out, and the jockey sat in front the whole way up the straight. Horse pricked his ears and won as he liked. If Harry Cobden had sent him for home up that straight, got 4 or 5 belts into him, I can assure you the winning distance would have been far greater. I think the makeup of this race, I think Paul Nichols has it. He has it in his hand. He has Hitman to go after Laham Prez or force it with him. Loads of gears. He has Frodon to make sure it's an end-to-end gallop. And I think if Brave Man's Game sits out the back or sits 5th or 6th here, doesn't worry about the race for a lap, just does his good jumping, it takes him into the race. And then when the pace starts to crunch a little down the far side, I think Brave Man's Game can jump himself right into it. And I think, yeah, that's where I see him and Laham Prez, you know, starting to maybe draw clear of a lot of inferior rivals, I feel. I think Laham Prez is a brilliant horse. I followed him all last year. He landed max bets for me. I tipped him up in Cheltenham. He didn't run in the race I actually tipped him up for. He changed last minute, but then we backed him again on the day as a strong bet. I love Laham Prez, but I just think Paul Nichols holds the tactical key. Can he use it to his advantage here? I think if Brave Man's Game takes that lead, doesn't get involved in the skirmish, I think he's going to be absolute. Look, I see him winning, lads. I really do. I'm not going to sit here and go, I know Laham Prez is a very good horse, but Laham Prez has been ticking over with a campaign in mind. Venetia Williams is just thinking, right, we go here, we go King George, we go Cheltenham. Paul Nichols is just thinking this horse is going to win the King George, and I don't care what he does after it. He's going to have him primed, ready. If you look at Wetherby, just watch Wetherby. I think Harry should ride him the very same. Just take his time. Let the race unfold, and then when it unfolds, see how easy he then comes into it. And the whole way up the straight in Wetherby, he's idling. Yeah, I think he wins it. I really do. I think he wins. As like I said at the start, Paul Nichols doesn't bring a horse this good to a King George and lose. Has Laham Prez got all the attributes to beat him? Yes, he has. He can travel well, but I think Paul Nichols has enough tactical advantage in this race for Laham Prez. If Laham Prez goes handy, maybe Frodon mightn't be able to get near him, but I can assure you the likes of a Hitman would be able to maybe make him do a little bit too much a mile from home. Things like that, where the likes of Royal Pagal and them be slow enough for this. Look, I see Alam Perhez and Brave Man's Game pulling the way down into the straight, and I see Brave Man's Game winning. I think the two of them pull a mile clear of anything else. I think Hitman can lead them or be up there down the back and turn in and maybe run a big race in defeat, but I don't think he can see out. Well, it's hard to know because he's unexposed at the trip. But I'd be shocked if he beats the front two. And he is a good horse, but he's been beaten in too many races for me to say he'd win a King George. Brave Man's Game looks a good price to me. Everybody says he doesn't. I don't know. I don't see what more you're looking for. The horse got beaten in the spring last year and got beaten in the spring the year before. He got beaten in Cheltenham in the hurdle race, and then he got beaten in Aintree in April. So, this time of the year he's devastating. These are big raw horses, lads. They just don't campaign that far. A lot of people say, oh yeah, they're not the same horses in the spring as they are in the winter. That's because they just can't take that campaign. Some horses just flatter. Especially big horses. Big horses flatter. Anyway, real interesting for me. It's all about Brave Man's Game and Laham Prez to pull well clear of the field. And Brave Man's Game to be just too strong in the finish. Right, bet safe, bet fun and enjoy. That's my breakdown of the Kempton Cracker, the King George.